My name is Dr. Ann Rotich, and I teach Swahili and Swahili cultures at the Woodson Institute. So I'm interested in a couple of things. Because I teach Swahili and Swahili cultures, I've been interested in looking at best practices in teaching Swahili. Another thing that I'm interested in is studying about Kenya. Specifically studying about how Sheng, which is a popular language with the youth in Kenya, helps with conversations, controversial issues, discussions. So Sheng is a slang that was introduced by just the youth, and it keeps growing and growing. And because of the culture, the Swahili or Kenyan cultures, there are some things that people don't say or mention. Even body parts, people don't mention them in names. But because of this language, they're able to find terms that they are comfortable with, and then they use that in discussing things that might be sensitive to them or to the community. First of all, I would like when students, even if they're not going to use Swahili in their careers, I'd like them to come out knowing, having some knowledge about East Africa and about Africans in general, because Africa in the media has portrayed Africa in ways that are stereotypical. So I usually like my students to be ambassadors of Africa or East Africa, so that whenever they encounter these myths or stereotypes about Africa, they can be able to defend or give a different perspective of Africa. I've had a couple of students actually there's one student who is actually now in Tanzania. She's doing her PhD research there. So she is now very fluent in Swahili because she's been there for over a year. I have students who have done internship with the Voice of America here in Washington, D.C. And a couple of students who have just gone to East Africa and just worked there in the NGOs in East Africa. Especially in this day and age, it is really important for students to study about African and African American people, their cultures, their history, in not only giving them knowledge about African Americans and African cultures and history. It helps them because nowadays their neighbors are people from Africa, they're African Americans, so it helps them know how to live with with their neighbors. Besides that, it helps them know more about other people in the world, because the world today is more interconnected. So studying African and African American studies is the best thing. It helps them to be, to be grounded, to understand other cultures, other people. And this is very helpful for them to survive and enjoy living in this world we are today.